welcome back. This is Cindy here. This is a view from my balcony in the morning. Isn't it beautiful? This weather is inspiring me to do a DIY today. So let's get started. Okay, so this is a very old clock that we had, and now I'm just going to be reusing this frame of the clock. I've taken off the hands, as you can see. Also, I have taken off the machine of the clock, and also the batteries. Where it was kept. So that's another part I've taken out. It's pretty old and dusty. I'm going to be using this frame to create something new to add on to my house. So let's see what we can do with it. Okay, for this DIY, I'm going to be using an MDF cutout. This is something that is easily procured from any craft store in the market, or any place that sells MDF cutouts, or you can also easily order it from the online stores. This is 12-inch in diameter. For the clock that I'm going to give it a makeover, I would need a 12-inch diameter for this DIY. So I'm going to give it a first base coat. For the base coat, I'm going to be using white, and you could use acrylic or any chalk. If you have white chalk paint, you can use that. Here I'm going to be using white chalk paint on this. Okay, let's get started. If you do have a table protector, please do use it. Here I'm very lazy and I haven't used it, so you can see the amount of paint that has been on my table. Please do use one if you have. Once we are done applying the base coat, we need to let it dry before we start working on it further. The base coat has dried, and now we're going to work further on it. Here I'm doing some patterns on it. I'm doing a floral pattern here. You could do any kind of pattern. You could do a geometric, where you could draw lines diagonally on one side. Or you could do anything that you feel like. Here I'm drawing freehand. If you're not comfortable drawing freehand, you could use, you could print out the same design and then use a carbon sheet to transfer the design on the base plate. Usually when you are transferring a design from a carbon copy, please note that you should use a lighter color to do so. Let's start adding in the colors now. Here I'm using chalk paint to fill in the colors. You could also use acrylic if you have to do so. Now for the blank side, I wanted to create some patterns and I wanted to create a floral pattern. I had a wedding card invitation and I'm going to use it as a stencil and paint over it using sponge and paint. If you already have a stencil at home, you can use that also. This is done. I've repeated the pattern, and while placing the stencil I made sure that the patterns don't overlap with each other. Now since this is done, the gold is there on one side, I think we should add some gold on the other painted side too, for which I am going to take a sponge, the same sponge, and just lightly dab it with the remaining gold paint on it. Please note, I haven't used any further gold paint. Whatever was there as residue on the sponge, I'm using that, and the pressure on the hands should be just enough, just like a feather touch. Once the painting is done and it has dried completely, we will apply a layer of varnish on it. I have used artist's varnish on this so as to make this waterproof, and now I fixed it inside the rim of the clock. This is how it is looking, and okay, now we're going to cover this part of it. So yeah, let's get started. Now to complete this DIY, we're going to be using this rope. You can now see that I've covered it up completely. This is how it's looking. Okay. Now let's cut off this extra part of it. I'm using a paper cutter with this. We've covered this up, but I feel this part is also not looking nice. I'm going to again use the glue machine and the glue gun, and take some more rope and just cover the edges of it. Now these are two small pieces of rope which I'm going to be using as a handle, and I'm going to glue them together, and this will be done on both sides. So I've measured it up into 4 equal lengths, and now we'll glue them. Ta-da! This is the final product. Hope you liked it. I really enjoyed making this out of the old clock, and it's a great way to reuse things at home instead of throwing it away. This is how it's styled at home, and I hope you liked it.